Hello, welcome back for more Haskell fun, Haskell live coding. I'm going to go back to working on trying to connect a servant app to Postgres. I started this last week. It didn't go particularly well in the end. I tried to do it with persistent and I struggled because I couldn't work out how to get the connection to the database and then store it in the app config, in the reader T that's being passed around. So I switched back to using Postgres simple. That worked a bit better. I could get the connection and I could store it and pass it around and grab it when I needed it. But I ran into a problem when trying to take the existing record structure I had and then store that in the database. So I think the problem might have been loading it from the database. I'll find out in a second. But certainly either two-row or FromRow is not working there. Plan for today is to continue with Postgres simple to try and get something working. I think probably by looking at the records being persisted to the database and replacing it with something which actually matches the data I'm storing. The problem is to do with a field that gets calculated rather than a field that's actually part of the data. So I might look at that, and then if that works and if I have time, I'll go back to looking at persistent. I think there's a function I can called create Postgres pool, which I think will return something. I struggled last time because I didn't know what type it was. I don't know. I didn't just get the compiler to tell me because I can just assign it to something with the wrong type and it'll tell me what it should be. So I might look at that if I get time, and then see if I can move stuff over to use persistent and then use its migrations and its nicer models. I'm a little bit tempted to try that first actually because I don't really want to continue down the Postgres simple route. Let's do that. Let's start with persistent. Okay, so this is the thing that doesn't work. So I'm just what am I going to do? What did I do last time? Let me just look in main. Drop down to the end here. So when I'm doing it, I'm saying connect PostgreSQL, and this is using PostgreSQL simple. Okay, and then in my database layer, I think it was list I started to replace. What's initial DB? Well, these are all updated because I dropped a field out, I think, in the database. Or I renamed a field, I think that's what I did. Let's create environment. I think it was list environments, which is not here, so maybe it's not that one. It was get environment. Any of these take an actual database? No, I can't find. Oh, here we go. List environments thing I added here. Okay, I guess this was the previous thing, and then I replaced it with this connection thing. Select start from environments. Okay. What I might do is maybe just kill everything I had. No, let's keep it. Let's not throw it all away. Let's just hack at it until the type errors go away. Okay, so I'm not going to call this. Let me just check the cabal file, make sure I am importing. Oh, I'm not. I thought I was importing persistent, but I don't seem to be. Either of these? No. Okay. So we want persistent, and I think it's persistent Postgres. Let me grab those. I'll import them here as well. I'm going to throw away Postgres simple. It's going to cause a lot of issues. Let's let me just try building that and I'll just fix the issues as they come up, I guess. This is not going to go well. Filled quickly, I guess, that's a thing. So this will be in here. These. Get rid of the FromRow implementations that don't work anyway. We won't derive it. It's from JSON, just fine. Okay. That can go, I think. So it could go. We trust the language server. Okay. Just try building it again, see where the next error comes from. And okay, it's in main, I guess, because we're putting in connection. Or maybe not actually. Maybe this is in DB. Yep, it was this one because of the existence of query. Okay, and then all in here. What are they going to take here? Don't know what we're going to do with list environments. It's going to need some kind of argument. I don't know what it is yet. Okay. And then we go back to main. There's going to be a problem there as well. Importing that. And then that means that this should break. Not sure why this is not breaking yet. And somewhere up here, my connection is not going to work. Okay, so let's set this to be, I guess it's to be string, because I know that's wrong. Let's leave that for a second. Actually, it's a bit silly, but I'm just going to do this to get rid of the error. Okay, so I've set the string for now, which is incorrect. I will change it in a second to connect to the database. I'm just trying to chase down all of the errors of removing PostgreSQL simple. Okay, that's cool. It's compiling, so I guess PostgreSQL simple is gone. That's quicker than expected. Okay, so I'm going to say this is create Postgres pool, I think. And the arguments for that escape me. Postgres pool, so we get connection string, and then the number of connections to be kept open. So I can, I guess, set this to 1. One connection. Okay. So this is not in scope. What did I call it? Create PostgreSQL pool. Yeah, let's see if we can find that. Yep. So it can pull this in from persistent. Cool. So now we have an error where it couldn't match the type, which is resource pool data.pool.pool. Good. Is that the shortest form of that? Data.pool.pool. Okay. If I try just calling it pool, will it work out where to get that from? It does not know. Okay, back to here. So this gives you an M pool SQL backend. data.pool. So maybe I need to pull in resource pool. Well, it should be pulled in anyway, I guess. I might just try importing data.pool, see what happens. If it doesn't work, I can maybe add it to Cabal file to make it explicit. Okay, yeah, it's a member of the hidden package resource pool. So back to Cabal. Oops, not there. Back to Cabal. So I'm going to import resource pool. I should be giving versions to everything. Yeah, I am not. Do I need it in both the library and executable? I need an executable because that's where main lives and that's connecting to the database. So that needs it. I probably need it in the library as well because I'll need to take the connection pool as an argument. So I think I'll leave that in place. Try building it, see if that does anything. Oh, it compiled it. I didn't really expect it to work. Ah, it didn't. Excellent. Okay. So it's not just pooled, it pooled something. And I forgot really what it was. It was pool SQL backend. Can I just type that? Will that work? It said it worked. No instance for monad logger arising from this. Okay, so I saw this last time. So I need some instance of monad logger in IO, I think. Seems weird that I have to do this. I wonder, it doesn't feel like that would be a normal thing to do. I wonder if I'm missing something. No connects available. Import control.monad.logger. Couldn't do that. It's a member of the hidden package monad logger. Okay. That's the Cabal file. Give it a second to finish processing. Okay. We should have a problem here because I'm not implementing something. Where what? Give me a hint as to what I should be implementing. Okay. Understood error logging T. Maybe I need to look at monad logger. I have no idea how this works. Package. Monad logger. Examples. Excellent. That's really helpful. Okay. Haskell monad logger IO. Enable complete definition, nothing. Oh, have I just given it the wrong instance? Because I said monad logger, it should be IO. No, there's no either. Where ask logger IO is undefined. Nope, still does not help. Okay, not that thing. Logging function? I don't know. Would you use control.monad.logger? So we've gone down another rabbit hole. Oops, control.monad.logger. And was it create PostgreSQL pool? Nope, not super helpful. There was something that mentioned the logger. It's just a monolithic kind of event functors. What's the problem? Yep. It feels like every time I think I'm learning something in Haskell, yeah, I find that I just understand less and less and go down more and more rabbit holes. Run no logging T. What's that going to do for me? Run no logging T. Env pool. Test. Okay, env pool test should just come back as 1. So create a connection string is whatever, and then run no logging T. But maybe we'll use runs to like logging T. That sounds like it'll be more useful. Runs to that logging T. I don't think I want to run it though, that's the thing. I mean, that did a thing. It did the thing where it did an error. Okay, so the obvious answer is you just copy random things from the internet until it works. I guess in that regard, Haskell is like every other language. Okay. We now have our logger, not our logger, our connection, which is of type this. So now I can go back to the DB thing and I can say, I'm going to take this. So we'll import that. We'll import this. So we now have a connection and we can do something with our connection. What do we do with our connection? We should probably use it to query. But before we query, we should probably build the models that's going to use. So this is where I copy more random stuff from the internet. If I come back to here, oh, I don't know, I'm typing Vim commands out. So we have all of these language extensions, and they don't all work in the version of Haskell I have, but I think the error messages get me to the end. So let's do that. And then if we come back to the example, I want to grab this piece of templating. Okay, so we'll do our imports. And then we'll do this magic. Get rid of that for a second. We're going to call this environment. We'll just give it a name. That should be enough. Okay, so this thing, let's grab that import. It's not compiling here because it can't compile, so I guess, is that progress? Where's my error? Variable not in scope share. It's not going to help me import it. Okay, so I want to go to here, and I must be missing something. Database persist. I probably haven't got that in general. Yep, okay. That should now give me share, I think. Oh, and then th was pull in general. Okay. So now requires. Let me copy them. That's really annoying. These things as well. Quick fix. Oh, even better, I didn't realize I could just quick fix them. Okay, so in theory now, I have a model called environment. I have a migration. To migrate everything, to create everything, I guess. And then I have got, I haven't got anything to do the querying yet. So we can return a list of environments rather than the DAO environment, or we could map it to the DAO environment. Let's do the mapping thing, because then the rest of the code should keep working, I think. Okay, so let's go back to my example. To read something was select list. Can we select all? No, not in there. Some persistent. So got a query class. Obviously there. What have we got in here? Don't want raw SQL. I want none of these things, I think. It's not helping me build queries. It's got helpers. Okay. No. No. Make columns. No. Okay, that's not what I want either. Is there an example somewhere of how to query? I don't want to do a get. Queries, fetching by ID, not what I want. Fetching by unique constraint, no, select functions, select list. Can I just give it 2 empty lists for selecting all? So we can say something like, oops. I have a connection. What do I do with it? I need to run something with it. Because I can't just say select list. Oh. Yeah. So eventually I want to end up with something like this. This is a select list. I don't know how it knows what table I want to select from. Maybe it just does it from the type. Okay, but I can't do this. We'll just turn nothing for a second. Okay, I can't do this because it's not running inside the connection. So if I go back to here, that would just create a new pool for me. Is what I want. I want to use the pool to run a query. I don't think these are the things I want. Connection, without connection. Okay, if I go back to this example, how did they use their connection? Oh, I need to run migration. I must remember to do that. Feels like it should be like a run DB. That's the thing I was looking for. Oh yeah, there's an example I was looking for. So here I can say run DB. Nope. What's it? Oops. Is RunDB a helper that they wrote? I wonder. No, it's not. Okay. Noodle? Let's try Noodle instead. Is RunDB a thing? DB. Oh, it's not very helpful. That's a site to a handler, so that's not the thing I want. I want something that's actually persistent. Groundhog is a helper. I want something that's going to go from data.pool. What was the type of this thing? SQL backend. It's not finding anything. And pool SQL backend, which won't match either. No. Okay. That's annoying. So I think RunDB is coming from another package we're using. Run SQL pool, is that the one I want, maybe? Oh, maybe it is. Okay. Also, maybe it's not. Don't know why I'm doing this wooden dollar, but anyway. So, run SQL pool. Takes a reader T backend, which I'm not giving it, and a pool backend. Okay, I don't think that's right. So if I just go back and see how we're using run SQL pool. Oh, do migrations and then pool. Okay. Hold that pool for a second. So this isn't not a thing that I can pass in as a reader T. Or is it fine? Ambiguous type variable. Okay. Let's change for a second. I'll create some other errors, but if I just change it to be a list of environments, then say pure ends. I'm now getting better errors. I'll get rid of the warnings because it's no point in doing that. I can just do this. Okay, so it comes back as entity record 0. Okay, so let's go back to this example. Actually, go back to the example at the very beginning. or near the beginning, sorry. So I think they run SQLite memory. My command is run connection pool. Can I move? Oops, not that. Can I move? This and say something like let run SQL pool do and then say m's oops, comes from there, and then pure m's I cannot. All sorts of things are going wrong here. It's not the area I'm interested in. Couldn't match entity record 0 with environment. Expect environment, actual type, IO entity record 0. Just going to compile it as well. There is a problem with Haskell language server and template Haskell. I just want to make sure that's not the problem here, that these are the same errors. Yes, okay. Couldn't match persistent entity backend record 0 with SQL backend. Oh, that's a different error. Oh, it was just select let's take. So it's not helpful at all. If I go back for a second, there's this run DB thing. Run DB. It was in here. How is this implemented? Helps run database operations within an application monad. I don't know what action is. Give it a connection. Say get connection. And what is the action? Action con is a reader T con IO. Okay, so I think it's just wrapping the connection in a reader T and then running it for you. Because the error I was getting from here is not that error. Oh, so what's like that? Okay. Also, when I looked at the type of select list, that was it. Yes. It's going to return a reader T backend M into the record. So can I just run the reader? It doesn't really seem right to me. So back here, they're using a helper, aren't they, for RunDB in this example, I think. I mean, maybe I could just pull in that helper. Let me check up into the user. It's just a function. This entity is popping up everywhere. Maybe that's another thing I've missed. Oh. Okay. Yeah, do that. Okay. Ish. Do I even need to do now? Guess not. I don't need to flip it either. Don't need to flip it, but I probably will in a second. So, because I want to get rid of the entity and I want to map this to something more useful. And I can either reduce it, of course. I had to reduce it. Okay, so run SQL pool is what I was looking for. We'll take the pool, we'll return the list. So if we go back to main, what am I doing? Go back to main. There's probably going to be an error in here when we do this. Yep, okay. So list environments. It expects app environment and it gets this shit back. App is really app config handler. Okay, so run instead of environment, we get list of entity DB environment. But why is it trying to? Why is it trying to turn it into? Oh, because I told it it's list environments. That's why. If I change it to be entity environments, also it's a wrong environment. And I have ended up with two definitions of environment. Okay. Rather than change it here, I'm going to try and fix it so we do just return list of environments. So back to here. And we want to return DAO.environment. This one no longer works. We'll put our arguments back in. So we'll say pool, and then we'll say flip. Pool, oops, do. Okay, so we can say ems. Comes from that. No, the other one comes from that. Take those brackets for a second. Okay, so we now need to map this somehow into a list of into list environments. Of the environments, it's not going to happen here, is it? Because this is an argument to run SQL pool. Just undo that for a second. Go to flip. Put pool in there. Okay, so we have a list of entity environments. Entity record 0, but it's going to be entity environments. I'm going to turn it into a list of DAO environments. So we want to map that with some kind of env to env. Oh, no. Need a keyword shortcut for this because it's really hard to type. Oh, what have I done? Is it going to respond anymore? No. Oh wow. Is the keyboard no longer working? It's no longer working because I changed it to a different Bluetooth setting. It's trying to connect to device 3, which is my iPad. That's not right. Come back again? Yes, it's come back again. Okay, sorry. What's it doing? I was trying to... Oh, I've done it again. That. Wow. Okay. So env to env I need to write. Env to env is going to go from an entity environment to a DAO environment. Thanks for filling that in with stuff I didn't want. Okay. So env to env is undefined. Now, okay, so what's going on here? So it couldn't match DAO environment with list of DAO environment. Bit confused. So I thought run SQL pool would return me a list of entity environment. It says entity record 0. It's got a list of entity record 0, an IO list of entity record 0, and oh, okay. I think I know what's happening. And I want a list of IO DAO environment. I tried to use fmap, but I think I fmapped over the IO rather than fmapping over the thing inside the IO. I think. We can do something like ems comes from there, and then we can say env to env. Now let's remember to type map that over ems and pure it. Okay. Might be about writing this, but anyway. So inside the IO monad, we'll run the SQL pool, we'll get our results back, and then we take our results, we map this env to env over it, and then we return that inside IO. Okay, so what is entity? That's really not super helpful. What are the constructors for entity, I wonder? So this, imagine this is an environment. Then we want to say DAO.environment. So it takes an ID, an environment status, and a string. I think environment status I might have messed up a bit, but anyway. Okay, so the ID will be just the ID of E. Oh, the buffering again. I wonder if the buffering is on my end or if it's on your end. It says that I have an excellent connection. It's a bit of a delay, but like it says it's working. I wonder if it's not bandwidth, is it maybe, it could be YouTube, it could be, I don't think it's a streaming because it says it hasn't dropped any frames. The CPU is sitting about 30%. So yeah, I blame YouTube. Maybe YouTube thinks my videos are too long somehow. Okay, so entity. So entity 2 arguments was given none. Okay, I don't know what that. I don't know what type of entity is. It needs to go like that. I don't know how to get a field out of the thing I've retrieved. Like how do you? I could have an endpoint which runs an empty list. I guess that's what they're doing here. You know, that might be a quick way of just seeing if this works. So we won't bother with the mapping. Let me put it up for a second. Do that. And we'll just change it again to be entity environment. Okay. Go back to main. I'm just going to change my definition of environments to, I need to export it from the DB. So back in here, we can put a qualified DB, that's okay. So we can then say here, we return a list of entity db.environment and then add it there. Okay, and now I need to fix the type here. And entity of db.environment, and we have one error left. No instance of JSON to JSON of entity db environment. Okay, can we derive from that? But from what? Because it's oh no, the Americas are buffering. So environment we're not creating directly here. I don't know how we derive stuff. Like, can we treat this as a normal record and say deriving from JSON? Probably to JSON would be better. derive any class language extension. It should do it for me. Derive any class. Not in scope, type constructor to JSON. Do that. No instance fine for generic environment. Okay, now it's broken. Worth a try. Driving class can go and async can go. Okay, how do I fix this in the DAO? How are we creating this? Maybe I can just try adding this line. And environment, and I'll put it again, and then I'll need to do the deriving any class. Generic environment to the context of that. I don't even know what that means. No. Look at the imports here. Language extension, sorry. Oops. Don't think that's going to help. Yes. Now, okay. So just go back to my example. How did they derive it? They have deriving shown inside here. Oh, JSON. Just add a keyword. This feels very much like Rails. It's got that kind of magicness to it that I don't understand. What was generic? That can go. And this can go, I think. Okay, my error's gone away. Okay, so almost there. It'll compile. I'm not running my migrations yet, so I better do that as well. I'm sure we're not running Docker, actually. I'll see if that will start this time. Normally it doesn't start first time. Oh, I can see a whale, so maybe we're going to be okay. Docker is starting, apparently. Okay, I was going to go to, oops, I'm going to go to main and somewhere we have a connection here. Was it run migrations? Fun.rent. Yep. Don't know what that means. I don't think that comment is related to running Docker. Oh, I can't remember what the command was for running migrations. It's run migration. Go back to the top. It's a better example. Run migration, migrate all. Run migration, migrate all, but I might need to wrap that in the connection. Oh, also not available. Okay, so let's do run migration first of all. Migrate all, I'll need to export, I think, from here. And then if I find this, all it is run SQL pool and then run migrations and then the pool. attachment, so we'll pull run migration that, and then the connection. Okay, so this should be db.migrate all. Okay, in theory, it'll run the migrations for me, and then I should be able to list environments, of which there should be none. Compile. Come on, okay, stack run. Cannot connect server, okay. Cannot compose here. Not that one. It's not a Docker compose file. I clearly don't have one there. Okay. Maybe we should create one. Let's grab that. Oh, I ran it from somewhere else and then I created a database by hand. So where did I run it from before? I probably ran it from here and put it in the wrong directory by mistake. Okay, so it's a database running. Well, a database running, I don't know if it's the right one. We'll try running now, will it be able to connect? Oh my goodness. Create table with lowercase e for some reason. Okay. And then curl that. Wow, amazing. So I went to the database and found nothing. So let me see what I've got actually. PT environment and environments. Which one did it create when it started? Here it created environment singular. Okay. So here we should be able to say like environment. It's got an ID and a name. So insert into environment name values test. Okay, look at that, amazing stuff. Cool. Okay, so some type errors tonight and some not knowing what I'm doing errors, but overall managed to create a connection pool to the database using persistent, run the migration to create a table. We should know some type safe types, I guess, for the environment. And I changed the list endpoint to hit the database, which is really cool. So I need to work out how to use the data I get back. So this entity environment, I'll have to do some work with, because I really want to turn it back into the DAO environment, and then environment with booking, so we can put the booking information back onto it. But hopefully, now that we have a basic connection working, we can start to look at how that might work. And I should be able to start looking at the create endpoints as well, hopefully. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I hope it was as much fun for you as it was for me, which is a bit of fun. And hopefully, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Goodbye.